Scott, you were obviously very disappointed on Saturday with the result at Tranmere. What's your take home? What's your your analysis and your conclusions that you've drawn?
Well, I think that first of all, I was disappointed because I wanted to win. But when I reflect, I think that it's actually a really tough place to go for a start. I think there's only been 4 other teams that have actually gone and won there this season, even though they are where they are in the division. There's only 4 teams that have managed to go there and win. Had we have gone away from there with a draw after 2 or 3 positive results, it would have been seen as a good point. But the fact that we've gone there and not won games and then drawn, it's seen as a bad result, but it's the same as what a point would be anyway.
Yeah.
So we have to look at that and think, right, okay, there's a positive, we've got a point, or a tough place, and I think it's probably a tougher place than people give it credit for. So I felt that the team showed real character to dig in, and we had to really defend our box, especially in the second half. They threw a lot of balls, in the box, and we defended it resiliently to a point, and then we concede a penalty, which when you look at it, it's quite soft. It's not, it's not cut and dry. It's a bit soft, and unfortunately we come away with 1 point and not all 3. Did we do enough in the game to get all 3? No, probably not. But listen, it's a start, and whilst results have been really frustrating of late, it is a point negative as opposed to a point positive as opposed to a negative where we're coming away with no points.
Can we talk a bit about your side's consistency, certainly in terms of your ability to pick a consistent side, because you've had to pick an awful lot of players in your time so far, in the 30s of the number of players that you've had to pick or had the option to pick. There's consistency, I think, is probably one of the key takeaways that you and I have in these conversations.
Yeah,
you want a consistency.
Yeah, it's been really difficult, especially at the back end of the pitch. I've had 24 games here now, and we've had 9 different combinations of whether it's back 3 or back 4, but we've had 9 different setups within the personnel. Of course, on top of that, we've had 3 different keepers as well, so there's not been any consistency with that. We've signed 2 really good defenders in the window, in Jack Sanders and Nathan Thompson. Both are out at the moment. Obviously Nathan's a long-term one. We saw how good he was in the Wimbledon game. And then the game after was at Harrogate, where he got injured and will be out for 4 months. So it's straight away a big signing missing. Jack Sanders has been ill, so spent a bit of time in hospital this week. So again, the 2 major signings that we make in that back line to strengthen us have been missing. So yeah, it's been hard in terms of continuity and consistency, like you're saying. I think overall as well, with the squad, I think I've used 34 players in the 24 games, which is bonkers really, but with injuries and with kind of like giving everybody a real fair assessment from myself and my staff. I think we've had to do that. It's part of the process of what we're doing. There's been a big overall of players here, since I've been here, been a big kind of changeover of players, and we're not settled yet. I think that's clear to see, but we will be. I've been in the game, or I've been in this job 5 months. If you look at the managers at the top of the division, certainly the top 7, I think there's only probably Darren Moore at Port Vale's been at his club about a year. Stuart Maynard at Notts County about 13 months, just over a year, and then the rest of the managers in the top 7 have been in their post 2 years, some nearly 3 years. So it does take time. It really does, and I've been here less than 5 months, and there's been a lot of stuff to sort out, and it hasn't been easy, and we're getting there. You can see slowly there's an improvement, but it's small steps, and the steps we are making forward, definitely.
Do you think when you came into the job that there were probably more problems, not necessarily in and amongst the squad, but in the job that you think that wasn't seen from the outside, or that there are, there's always going to be underlying
Yeah, I
problems?
think so. I had the same at my previous club when I went in. At my previous club, we were third from bottom, and there were so many things wrong in terms of not just the playing squad, but the actual culture of the club needed revamping. I'm not saying that we're as bad as that was, but there's certainly definitely things that need improving here, and we're working really hard in order for that to improve day on day. So yeah, I think the culture here is different, but it does need to be a place where the players can really work hard together and have that togetherness and be connected. And it's difficult because we have one training pitch in terms of the 3G that we've got. I know the chairman's working really hard in the background in order for us to have better facilities next year, which I know that the work's going in. But we've had one training pitch, 3G pitch, and sometimes I've had nearly 30 players on there. So it's been really difficult to get the balance right of what we need to do in training, how we need to do it, keep everybody happy. And then when you're doing 11v11 and there's 5 or 6 players stood on the sideline, it kind of like doesn't help the environment, doesn't help the culture that you're trying to build. So it has been difficult. It's not been easy for sure. But I feel I'm really good at building a culture. I think I'm really good at creating that, and it does take time. It doesn't happen overnight. So yeah, it's something that we're really working hard to achieve.
How's it been this week? I mean, you obviously want to come in to work with smiles on your faces. How's everybody doing morale-wise?
Yeah, I think it's been a really good week. We've trained really well. The players have been really upbeat. We had a really good meeting Monday morning. Quite a short and sharp meeting, I must say, but it was really to the point. And I think if you speak to the players, I think that they're confident that we can still achieve something this season, based on the fact that even though probably the last performance at Tranmere, certainly the second half, didn't look like us, but we showed a resilience to a degree. Certainly in the games before that, there's moments in the game where we look a good side. We haven't probably done enough to see them games through, or to put the ball in the back of the net and win them games and keep the ball out the net at the other end. We haven't done enough for that to happen, and we know that. But we know that it's really close for us to start winning games, and I do believe as well. Once we win one, I firmly believe we'll go on and win, many. I really do believe that. I think it's just kind of getting that one result that we all yearn for, and hopefully that'll be Saturday.
It feels like just that pressure valve will just release after you get that one win.
Yeah, I think so, and I think that the players have probably played under that bit of pressure, but we've kind of taken that off them this week in training and said, look, let's just kind of go to Bradford and enjoy ourselves, and enjoy playing football and play with less pressure. And there is less pressure on us in this game. Obviously we're going to a team that are again in the playoff position with a manager who's been there a couple of years now, a good manager at that, and obviously they had a good run in the cup and got beat on Tuesday night to Birmingham, and they're doing great in the league, and he's had that group for a while now, and you can see that what they're building. So the pressure's more on them than us. We just got to go there and be ourselves, and be a good version of ourselves.
Not that it's a complete free hit, of course, but it sounds like you're almost looking at it kind of like that.
I think at this stage we probably have to. I think that the players look really anxious on Saturday, especially in that second half, and nervous, and I want to take that away from them a little bit. I don't want them going into these games feeling in a bad place or feeling bad. I want them to almost feel good about themselves and enjoy having the ball. We'll have the ball in most games, I believe. I think that we'll dominate possession, so enjoy that, and hopefully by enjoying it takes pressure off yourself, and then we can create goal scoring opportunities hopefully, and then keep the ball out the net at the other end.
Danilo getting his first goal, we mentioned it, didn't we, on Saturday afterwards, but that'll be a relief for him just to get that first one off his back and just say, okay, now I know what it takes.
Yeah, for sure. no, all strikers want to score, don't they? Especially when they first come to a club. So pleased to get him off the mark. I thought he took his goal really well, but he just works his socks off. So he will work hard for the team. He will press. He will thicken up, get back into shape. He'll do all the horrible things in football really well. Great lad as well, and completely on board. So no, really pleased for him.
Let's talk injuries then. You mentioned Jack Sanders was in hospital this week.
Yeah, so Jack's had a really nasty infection, a real nasty kidney infection actually. So his numbers were really high, and we were really worried about him. So he spent 3 nights in hospital. He travelled with us up to Tranmere, and then we sent him home on the Friday. So he was kind of due to be involved in that game, and then we had to send him home. He ended up in hospital that night and spent, I think, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and possibly even Monday. It might be in 4 nights in hospital on an intravenous drip on really strong antibiotics, and so hopefully he's out now, and he's at home, and he'll be probably included in some training next week. But we've got to really keep a close eye on him.
Yeah, I mean, you hear about players getting injured. You don't necessarily always hear them hospitalised for reasons such as that.
Yeah, he kind of had it at his previous club, and he'd been on a strong course of antibiotics before signing us, and we thought it was cleared when he signed. In actual fact, it was kind of still there. So with the games that he played, he probably wasn't at 100%, knowing that there was still some infection in his body. I think like Doncaster and Barrow, he played, and he said after the games that he really struggled towards the end of the game, and he didn't really understand why. And then obviously we found out that that's the reason why. So really speaking, we've signed Jack Sanders, and we've not really seen the best of him yet.
Yeah.
So another signing, it'd be like signing a new player when he gets on the pitch again.
How's Joe White? We've not seen him for a few weeks as well.
So Joe's been injured. He's going to be back in contention for this weekend. Trained brilliantly this week. Really enjoyed watching him in training. Looks like he's got his spark back again, but he's had a little bit of a heel problem, and I think kind of training on 3G pitches all the time doesn't help. So we had to offload him a little while and kind of rest him. But yeah, he's back now, and hopefully we'll see him on the pitch on Saturday.
If I can ask you about the 3G pitches and I suppose the longer term effects of them, like you've mentioned it, that you only have one pitch to train on. How much of a hindrance is it not to have a regular training ground? The training ground has been an ongoing rumbling conversation here for years.
Well, it's a big issue because we spend 95% of our time there.
Yeah.
We're there every day, and it's important that we get our work done. And sometimes I'm kind of tapering down the training because of the amount of time we're on that 3G pitch, and some certain players don't like it, and others are fine with it, but we have to keep everybody in mind as well. But yeah, it's not great, it's not ideal, but this is, like I say, the whole club at the moment with a new owner coming in. The transitional period that we're seeing at the moment is part of all this. And it's, like I say, it's transitional period. The chairman's working hard to get Woofton, sorted out for next year, and there'll be a lot of money invested in that. And yeah, it's just part of the process of where we are at the moment. It's just part of what we are.
Yeah. Going back to injuries, Jonathan Lecco, how's he doing? Is he someone that we've again not seen for a long time?
He kind of stop-start with his rehabilitation. He's been back in kind of bits of training, then he's broke down and come back in, then he's got illness and he's come back in. He's actually trained today and done well. So yeah, again, somebody who should be really close to full fitness, but he's got to work a little bit harder yet. Still a little bit to do, but enjoyed watching him around the place. A good guy, like him a lot. So yeah, getting closer.